Angelfish Care Guide, Tank Size, Diet and more. Angelfish Introduction. Angelfish are a standout amongst the most notorious freshwater fish out there. Their balances are long and streaming, commonplace of a fish you would see on a saltwater reef. Fortunately for a great deal of fledglings, angelfish are really freshwater fish and can be very simple to keep. Angelfish, when set up in an aquarium, require little upkeep other than legitimate water parameters and solid nourishing. You might be astonished to discover that angelfish regularly replicate in home aquariums. Our complete Angelfish Care Guide will show you how to set up an aquarium, how to keep your angelfish sound, and even how to breed them in your home aquarium. Category rating: care level, easy, moderate; temperament, peaceful; color form, several; lifespan, 10+ years; size, 6 inches; diet, herbivore; family, Pterophyllum; minimum tank size, 60 gallons. Tank setup, freshwater, rocks, and plants. Compatibility, moderate. Setting up an angelfish aquarium. Angelfish create to be very broad fish, so it is key to have an adequately immense tank to support them. Angelfish that live in undersized aquariums are much of the time shocking, hopeless, and intense. From my experience, I would prescribe a tank of something like 30 gallons to help 2 or 3 angelfish. This is especially basic if you expect to keep other tank mates. While they can be unfathomable system fish, angelfish are still in the cichlid family and end up provincial if space is confined. It is for each situation wanted to have more space over inadequate space. Angelfish will by and large be altogether overwhelming eaters, which suggests a lot of waste in your fish tank. Guarantee you have an average channel that can manage these sort of fish. While a not too bad keep tight down channel will work, I would very recommend getting a canister channel. Canister channels can process considerably more water than hob channels, and they will by and large be essentially logically convincing for freshwater aquariums. Substrate. When setting up your angelfish aquarium, the fundamental noteworthy decision you need to make is the sort of substrate you will use. If you are new to fish keeping, I would propose running with a fundamental shake substrate. Regardless of the way that stone will by and large gadget a lot of waste, it is extremely easy to clean and doesn't require an enormous measure of upkeep. It is furthermore truly disgraceful to purchase, so your wallet will be happy. We can't for the most part say that in the fish-keeping preoccupation. If you are logically experienced with aquariums, including sand as a substrate can be an exquisite development. Angelfish are privately found in the Amazon basin in South America, so typically they are progressively familiar with a sandy bass. Sand will give your tank a logically reasonable, trademark look, yet can be progressively difficult to clean. I without a doubt use sand in the aggregate of my new aquariums and would never show signs of change back to shake, essentially for the looks. Vegetation. As I talked about beforehand, angelfish are from the Amazon basin where vegetation is bounteous. Exhibiting your angelfish with a huge amount of plants, shakes, and covering spots is a basic bit of keeping them serene. But on the off chance that you expect to purchase a light setup, it is best just to use fake plants. Counterfeit plants give the look and feel of a trademark planted aquarium, anyway expect for all intents and purposes no work. While picking these plants, endeavor to find some that stand vertically and have far-reaching leaves. These duplicate the plants in the Amazon basin and will make your angelfish progressively pleasing. Other unprecedented enhancements to add to your angelfish tank are driftwood and rocks. Driftwood perfectly imitates the angelfish's customary condition. Immense, vertical standing rocks furthermore give a phenomenal spot to your fish to stow away and, over the long haul, lay eggs. Filling your tank with heaps of ordinary-looking covering spots and embellishments helps keep your angelfish pleasing and quiet. Water. When filling your aquarium, it is basic to use a quality water source. The best thing you can do is purchase water from your close-by fish store. Dependent upon how colossal your aquarium is, in any case, this can be troublesome and require a lot of holders. Obtaining your water from an extraordinary fish store ensures that all of the parameters will be correct and chlorine-free. If you have to take a more affordable course, fixture water is qualified to use. Water straight from the tap, be that as it may, contains a huge amount of chloride and can butcher your fish. While using spigot water, you must use water conditioner to slaughter the chlorine and give a shielded circumstance to your angelfish. Fail to do in that capacity will devour the angelfish's gills and over the long haul lead to death. Typical Rapport makes a fantastic water conditioner that I have used for a significant long time in my freshwater aquariums. Make a point to hold fast to the bearings on the container in all regards warily. Cycling your aquarium. Cycling your aquarium is an essential abhorrence. It can take weeks to finish, yet at last it is totally justified, despite all the trouble. Neglecting to cycle your aquarium can be destructive and possibly deadly to your fish. To appropriately cycle your freshwater aquarium, you should initially comprehend the nitrogen cycle. At the point when natural mixes, for example, fish waste and nourishment break up in your tank, a lot of alkali is delivered. This smelling salts is less than M greater than extremely less than M greater than harmful to your fish and deadly in any sums. In a solid aquarium, there is a wealth of useful microorganisms that convert this deadly smelling salts into a less destructive poison called nitrite. Nitrite is better than smelling salts, yet is still possibly deadly to angle. This is the place a second arrangement of valuable microscopic organisms come in and convert the nitrite to nitrate. There is just a one-letter contrast their names, yet a less than M greater than huge less than M greater than difference in your aquarium. Indeed, even the most beneficial of aquarium show hints of nitrates, and they are typically nothing to stress over except if in high amounts. Nitrates must be evacuated through water changes, so be set up to do them on a fortnightly timetable. The Fishless Cycle. Since you know how the nitrogen cycle works, you have to figure out how to viably total this cycle in your home aquarium. I am a tremendous supporter of the Fishless Cycle, not including any fish until cycle is finished. While this may take somewhat more, it spares a couple of unfortunate fish from smelling salts, nitrite harming. Before beginning your Fishless Cycle, you should buy a test unit. The API Freshwater Test Kit is the most perfectly awesome available. To start your cycle, have your aquarium totally set up, substrate, water, plants, designs, channel, heater, and include a couple of portions of drop sustenance every day. As this drop sustenance breaks down, you will see a gigantic spike in smelling salts on your test unit. Make a point to test your water at any rate once per day to remain exceptional. As smelling salt spikes, the principal sort of helpful microbes will start to develop. As these microscopic organisms develop, they will devour the smelling salts and convert it to nitrite. This initial segment of the cycle may take somewhere in the range of 2 to 3 weeks. Try to include a little squeeze of chip nourishment on occasion to sustain your smelling salts expending microorganisms. When alkali starts to drop, the principal sort of helpful microscopic organisms are carrying out their responsibility. You will see a spike in nitrites. Now, the second kind of useful microbes will start to replicate and develop in numbers. This microbes, obviously, expends the nitrite and changes over it to nitrate. Forget to continue including a couple of chips of fish nourishment to support the cycle. In another 2 to 3 weeks' time, you will see the nitrites start to tumble off. Make sure to test your water each day, and nitrites start to spike. When ammonia and nitrite hit 0 on your test unit, your cycle is finished. Complete an expansive water change to lessen nitrates in your tank is prepared for fish. Include you fish each one in turn each couple of days rather than at the same time. The gainful microscopic organisms are as yet developing and you would prefer not to overpower them. Adding your angelfish to the tank. When your cycle is finished, you are free to include your fish. On the off chance that you need to be erring on the side of caution, it is ideal to get a couple of solid animal groups, for example, mollies or guppies, and add them to your aquarium first. Watch them for a couple of days and ensure they look solid before including your angelfish. At the point when the time at last comes to include your angelfish, ensure your tank is set to the best possible mild. Angelfish like a temperature of 76 to 82 degrees. In the event that regardless you need a warmer for your tank, I would exceptionally prescribe investigating the Aqueon Pro heaters. I have utilized them for an entire and they are very tough and dependable. Gradually adapt your angelfish to your aquarium by coasting them taken care of for 20 to 30 minutes. At the point when the temperatures are leveled out, you can at last discharge your fish into the tank. You have been developing to this for quite a long time and it is an energizing time. Congrats! Feeding your angelfish. Angelfish are forceful eaters and certainly anticipate supper time. It is imperative to sustain your angelfish a solid, adjusted eating regimen on the off chance that you need them to flourish and be upbeat in your new home aquarium. I would prescribe a blend of drop nourishment and substantial, solidified sustenance to keep you angelfish as sound and solid as could reasonably be expected. I for the most part give my angelfish Tetramint tropical flakes a couple of times for the duration of the day, enhanced by solidified saline solution shrimp or bloodworms around evening time. You can diminish the measure of solidified nourishment as the angelfish get more established, however this isn't fundamental. Live saltwater shrimp is likewise an incredible treat once in a while. Just feed you angelfish as much as they can eat in a 60-second time frame. It is smarter to nourish your angelfish 3 to 4 times each day in little amounts than one expansive supper. Sustaining a lot as one time will just build the measure of uneven sustenance and make your aquarium filthy. Actually, overloading is the most widely recognized oversight made by new fish keepers. Maintaining your aquarium. An enormous piece of keeping you angelfish glad and tranquil is having a solid aquarium. Keeping an aquarium requires a decent measure of work, so on the off chance that you are searching for a set and overlook sort of leisure activity, this most likely isn't for you. Water changes ought to ideally be done on an every other week plan. Each and every other week, swap out between 10 to 20% of the complete tank volume and supplant it with new water. Before including the new water, ensure it is dechlorinated and prepared for your fish. Amid water transforms, you should clean the glass of your aquarium to evacuate any development or green growth. You ought to likewise go through a guide to suck any settled waste on the sand, rock. Disposing of this loss before it gets an opportunity to deteriorate will help keep your smelling salts, nitrite, and nitrite within proper limits. Amid water transforms, you ought to likewise complete an exhaustive cleaning of your channel. Put a couple of glasses in a container and sprinkle your channel around to expel any gunk or ooze. This will help keep your parasites from working up and contaminating your fish. It is vital to only utilize existing tank water to clean your channel. Don't run it under the fixture or anything. Doing as such will murder the majority of the useful microscopic organisms, which, as you most likely are aware, are essential to the well-being of your tank. Missing a water change all over is certainly not a gigantic arrangement. I usually let my aquarium go for a month without completing a water change. For whatever length of time that you are trying your water regularly, you shouldn't have any issues. Simply ensure you do water changes at any rate once per month. Your fish will love you for it. Enjoy. Setting up an effective angelfish aquarium is a ton of work. Whenever done legitimately, your angelfish will live for quite a long time and present to you a huge amount of happiness. As they develop, you will see that every angelfish has her own one-of-a-kind identity, something that isn't regular among many fish. You put a great deal of diligent work into your aquarium, appreciate it as frequently as possible.